Example number 1. Let's change back to black. Example number 1. Sketch the graph of y equals the absolute value of 3x plus 6. Identify the intercepts. So x and y. The domain and the range. So, first things first. Let's get ourselves a nice little grid. I'm just going to shrink it down a little bit so we can see the whole thing. Perfect. So what I want to do, step number 1, graph y equals 3x plus 6. Now I know how to graph that. I know that my y-intercept is going to be 6. And I have a slope of positive 3. So 1, 2, 3 up, 1 over. I can go the opposite here. 1, 2, 3 down and 1 over in this direction. 1, 2, 3 down and over. 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 Now for those of you who are skilled with graphing lines, you are going to be feeling good at this point. Like that. I'm just going to go with my pointer. Change that. There we go. So, next is step 2. Find the absolute value of all y values. Okay, so the absolute value of 0 is still 0. The absolute value of 3 is still 3. The absolute value of 6 is still 6. However, this one down here, the absolute value of negative 3 is positive 3. So this point in the graph y equals 3x plus the absolute value of 3x plus 6, that pops up to, I'm just going to change my color here. That pops up to 3, 3. Now I'm just going to go over in red all the things that stay the same. Anything that's above the y-axis will stay the same. Okay. However, this one here at negative 4 becomes negative 4 positive 6. This one right here at negative 5 becomes, instead of negative 5 comma negative 9, it becomes negative 5 comma positive 9. So I'm just identifying here, this one right here is negative 3 comma negative 3, and that turns into negative 3 comma 3. You're noticing that only the y value becomes positive when we're talking about absolute value functions. Now I'm going to cheat a little bit. Okay, so find the absolute value, and then step 3. Connect the points. There should be a V formation. Okay, so I'm going to do that in red. Don't forget your arrowheads. Okay, so I'm just going to identify which line is which, because it's going to be really important to identify what your final graph is. So y equals the absolute value of 3x plus 6. Whereas the black line here, this one down here, is going to be y equals 3x plus 6. This right here is our final answer, so we have to make sure that we have that clearly labeled, because I'm not going to be able to distinguish. I mean, I could kind of see what you're doing, but you need to be very clear in what is your final answer with the graph. So this is just the steps on how to graph it. Next, what we need to do is identify the intercepts, the x and the y, the domain and range. So the x-intercept is at -2, 0. The y-intercept is at 0, +6. And our domain is just going to be x as an element of the reals, because it can be any x, okay? Because it's going off in this direction forever and this direction forever. And the range is y is greater than or equal to 0. Y is an element of the reals, because we're never, for our final answer, never going to have any graph that's down here. We're just going to have graph that is above the y, that is above the x-axis, so it's only positive y's.